Hi, this is Clarence Moy with Contending here with DeMane Davis, the executive producer of NBC's Brilliant Minds, who also has directed this week's fantastic episode, I should say, The Contestant. DeMane, it's lovely to meet you.
So wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me. So I want to dive into your experience on this episode. With Brilliant Minds. Of course, the name of the episode is The Contestant. But first, what is it about this show that kind of brought you into it? What is it that engaged you as a creative force?
Uh, I think, first of all, the show being about Dr. Oliver Sacks, it's inspired by him. So we use some of his real work, some of his real cases. All the medical conditions that we portray are real conditions, which I think is really interesting that they're conditions of the brain. We don't always know about that or see that, certainly not on television. So it's really exciting to do that. And then to have this modern day Dr. Oliver Sacks, played by Zachary Quinto, is great. He's such a dream. Um, and then I think it's just, we're allowed to have a patient perspective, what we call, that really puts you inside the head, the heart, the mind, the body of the patient. And that in itself is just so creative, something that showrunner Michael Grassi and pilot director Lee Toland Krieger came up with. And it gives directors a lot of freedom. So you're constantly thinking of new ways to portray these conditions in camera. And that's super exciting. You don't really get that kind of freedom on other shows.
Right. And for people who don't know who Dr. Oliver Sacks was, go look at the film The Awakening from
Yeah.
the early 90s, directed by Penny Marshall. That is where I first discovered him and his
Oh,
works. I was profoundly moved by that film. Um,
me too. My mother took me to see it, and I immediately was like, "Who's this Dr. Oliver Sacks? Oh my God, he's a real person!" And I started reading his books right after that.
Amazing. Amazing. So when we look at this episode, The Contestant, what was it about this episode that told you, that spoke to you and said, this is something that I would like to fashion and direct and create and bring into the world?
Yeah, so Michael said, I want you to direct this episode. As soon as I read it, it was written by Davia Carter and Ariana Jackson. I was just thrown into it, first of all, because I have to admit, I do watch reality television. So there's that. So there's that part of it. Married at First Sight is still one of my favorite shows. And then there's just idea that you could have a break, have sort of this mental event that makes you think that you're actually on television, that there are cameras all around, that you're being recorded, that everyone is in on it except you, which is really fascinating. So it's called the Truman Show syndrome. And that phrase was coined by a doctor when he started to see a bunch of cases of this, primarily in men, which was interesting. Um, and so I read up on that. And then the writing is just so fresh and so funny. And, her commentaries about it being a TV show, but we're making a TV show was just great. So I was really attracted to that. The Truman Show was one of my favorite films. And so we looked at that with our director of photography, Claudine Sauvé, and really talked a lot about how we would sort of craft this world. And it was really exciting to do.
I have to pause and say I do find it hilarious that that of course men would think that they are constantly being filmed and suffer from the Truman Show syndrome. Speaking as a man,
Thank
I
you.
can say, you know, oh, my
All eyes on
sex,
you.
my
All eyes
gender.
on you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, I love the way that you start this episode because if you don't know where the episode is going, if you don't know that there is such a thing as Truman Show syndrome, you think
Mhm.
this is some bizarre, this woman has been kidnapped and she has injured herself and there's something that is going on. And, my mind goes into all other kind of avenues. Tell me about fashioning that opening sequence, that pre-credit sequence where Molly Bernard, who plays Lauren B, is essentially in this world. We're 100% in her reality, in the way that she perceives reality. And then, of course, she has a panic attack. She tries to get out of it, and then she believes that she has injured herself. Tell me about filming that
Yeah.
sequence with her.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for picking up on all the cues. It worked. You you totally got got captivated by it. It's the idea that you is this a reality show? Oh wait, maybe she is being, kidnapped. Oh wait, maybe she did really escape from a reality show, which could, there could be some interesting commentary there. Um and then know that it's in her mind. So we watched a lot of Love is Blind, which is easy to do. And we sort of took a look at, we did a lot of filming through things and through, tchotchkes and cabinets and stuff. I think in the final cut there's less than that, but we created this room with Kira Vernon, who is our production designer, who loves Love is Blind. And I didn't know there's like Love is Blind UK, Love is Blind India, Love is like there's so many. Anyway, so we sort of, generally took our inspiration from that of this room and what's in the room. And then sort of that the crane shot where we kind of come up. It's is that she's, in this environment in sort of a pod. And that was a lot of fun to do to get to kind of plan that out and to really make people think that she's in this environment. Which was, it worked. So thank you for that.
Okay, you're also playing with the color pink in
Mhm.
this reality, that the even outside of this, throughout the episode, when she engages with Dr. Wolf, and in other sequences, she went that perception, everything kind of has a pink tint to it. And of course, you're talking about the different camera angles. How else are you trying to visualize this reality?
Yeah, we did that. We put a little matte box around the camera so you can sort of see where she's like center punch in there. We use it sparingly, not all the time, but we thought it would sort of help you get that feeling that you're being watched, that she's under surveillance, that she's being filmed. The pink was something that Claudine Sauvé came up with. It's one of my favorite colors. It's one of Claudine's favorite colors. And we wanted to really, because doing the patient perspective, ideally you do it all in camera. We do sometimes use VFX on the show, but we have a very, minuscule VFX budget. For the most part, we do these things on camera, sort of inspired by, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. Those are the movies that Lee Talent Krieger sort of was honing in on when he was coming up with the show with Michael Grassi. So Claudine was like, let's turn it pink. And so we got to actually everything that you saw there that wasn't done in post, it wasn't color time that way. We actually had pink on set, and that really helped Molly Bernard, who just played this role so wonderfully, get into that feeling of, oh, I'm in my head, I'm being filmed, I'm being watched. So those are some of the things we did, and then just employing different close-ups and using a little bit of filming off speed, slow motion when Dr. Wolf takes his glasses off, which is one of my favorite moments, just to really get you in the mind of this is reality TV, this is a show, and this is how she sees it. And then what Dr. Wolf does, which is much like Dr. Oliver Sacks did, he made house calls. Dr. Wolf goes into that patient perspective with the patient, sees the world the way that they do so that he can better treat them.
Role playing becomes such a very critical theme within this episode, and in a lot of other episodes of Brilliant Mind, but
Mhm.
particularly in here we have many opportunities of role playing where, as you say, he steps into her world. He accommodates the delusion just to try to help treat her. But then you've also got other characters participating in role playing, and I'm thinking of one of the earlier scenes where I'm blanking on her name, but the Carol, I believe it is.
Yeah.
She is role playing with that other doctor to try to figure
Josh.
out,
Yeah.
like, yeah, Josh. So she can prepare for her hearing that's coming up later on in the episode. I mean, there's just so much of that there, and then it's a tool of the profession, is what we're
Yes.
led to believe. It's what we're understanding, and that's what you're conveying.
Yeah, I love that you caught that too. So coming out of the reality show sequence, and this character, Lauren's delusion, we wanted to start off with a close-up of Carol,
Mhm.
just so you're kind of like, oh, is that like a confessional in a reality TV show? Like, is she on it? What's going on? And then pulling out and revealing, okay, she's trying to prepare because she's got to go and speak in front of her peers about what she did in Allison in the case from last season. So we really wanted you to kind of feel that. I think obviously Dr. Porter, Charlie Porter, he's also role playing. You're not really sure what he's playing at. We'll find out more about that later in the season. And then you have Erica, who's on benzos, and she's, playing a role as well. I want to just mention that part of the reason for picking the pink is generally in our hospital, it's green, which is one of the things that I love. So it is a hospital. Bronx General sort of plays a character. It's kind of a worn old hospital, but we've got primarily greens and blues. We also picked pink so that it would be very distinct from those colors from that palette, so you would know when you're in her mind. And then Nancy Gould, our costume designer, put Carol in pink, and I actually have to ask her. I don't know if she sort of knew to do that. So coming right off of that, she's wearing pink, and I think Claudine and I both looked at her, looked at each other, and was like, "Oh, look at it's the pink again." So it was
Serendipity.
pretty great. Yeah, it was pretty great.
Speaking of role playing, this is probably something you can't talk about. It's probably something that's going to be explored over the rest of the season. But we do have Bellamy Young, who was introduced last episode. She is now a little bit more into this episode. I have, and neither confirm nor deny, but I have the sense that she is role playing a little bit there too. Just the way that she is. I love how she plays this character. She's coming. She's of course the administrator of Hudson Oaks, the inpatient treatment facility, and
Yeah.
she just has this patent smile on her face. She just has this tone, this very gentle, this yes, especially when Dr. Wolf's kind of aggressive to her when she's considering treating Lauren B or trying to get Lauren B into her care. She's just like, no, you're fine. This is fine. Everything is fine. It just I feel that she is role playing as well. We'll find out more, I guess, in the next couple of episodes.
Yes, you will find out more. I will say that Bellamy Young is just absolutely delicious.
Mm-hmm.
From her first take, I'm like, no notes. I got nothing to say to you. Just do your thing. And really what I love about her too is when I met her, she's just the warmest, most bubbly person. And I said to Michael Grassi after meeting her, I'm like, maybe that's how she should play this character, just genuine and warm and just it's like you're getting in a big cozy bed and like, you know, um getting that feeling that she really cares and she's invested in you, which is how she is in real life. She's very caring and very sweet. So it's great to see her. I'm a huge Scandal fan, massive Scandal fan. Of course, I worked with Kerry Washington. I directed her first leading role in Lift back in the day. So it's kind of full circle for me to get to work with Bellamy. And you'll be seeing more of her and her deliciousness. That's all I'll say.
Excellent. Um, Talking about performances, I do want to step back and talk about your interactions with Molly, who plays Lauren B, the central character. Like, obviously there's a lot of reality show to pull from, a lot of reality show content to pull from. But how did you kind of help her figure out who this woman was and these delusions that, from which she's suffering?
Yes, whenever an actor comes to our show as a guest actor, certainly as a recurring, I try to, as an executive producer, producing director, just meet with them and kind of tell them about, our vibe here, which is a culture of kindness and how we do things, and tell them to let me know if they need anything. And so Molly and I were going to meet, and it was going to be like maybe a 30-minute meeting, and it was 2 hours. It was 2 hours. We're laughing, we're talking. She pulls out a pencil case. I was like, I have a pencil case. We're just like completely relating. And she talked a lot about being a mom and her decision to be a mom and what that meant and what she was going through. And the more that we talked about her personal story and Lauren's story, the more it was like, oh, this was meant to be, like, and I felt that I've been, I'm fortunate to say I felt that many times on this show where an actor will come in and we'll talk, and I'm like, oh, this was for you. This role was for you. You're supposed to, this is supposed to help something in you, and you're going to help all of us with doing this. And so she just came to set just game. We did a page one turn here in my office and we talked things out, and we talked about how strong that instinct is to want to have a child and then be in love with this person. The guy who broke up with her and then it not working out, but feeling like, well, I've got to still do these IVF treatments because everyone, saw that I wanted to have a baby. And I guess I still want a baby. I mean, talk about role playing, like,
Hmm.
and how that all contributes to her break. And I just absolutely adore Molly. She was always game, always excited, just truly invested. And I can't think of anyone else. I think this was for her, that moment at the end where she walks out of the hospital and just looks into the camera, and you see we've got the mat, the circle around the camera, and she kind of gives this look, and I'm like, you're the thought is that you're not totally healed, because that's a part of our show too.
Great.
Not everyone is healed in 42, 44 minutes. But you feel like you have some tools, like you got some people around you and you're going to be able to deal with it. And she just looks and she was like, oh, like that's there. And she just kind of like was like, all right, and gave like the slightest little smile, like, I'm going to be okay.
Mhm.
And man, I just fell out. I mean, Molly Bernard she's so wonderful. She's so wonderful.
Yeah, she really gave a fantastic guest performance there. It's when you look at Emmy submissions at the end of the year, you hope that true guest actors like this, get recognized, and they just get swallowed up by the whole streaming experience with
Yes.
larger shows. But she's giving such a great performance.
Yeah, she really did. She was really running up them steps in those socks, man. It was just great. It was great.
So I know you're directing another episode this second season. What else is next for you?
Yeah. Well, we'll be here for a bit, doing the whole show. I'm really excited to, just to be here and to help. Directors get so excited when they get to come here and we say, okay, so the patient perspective, you pitch us that. Like what is it going to be based on this condition? Sometimes it'll be written into the script, but they're welcome to kind of craft it, or, it's very much best idea wins here, which I love. I love that, to work like that on set with the crew. So that's super encouraging to get to see how a director works and just get to see that light in their eyes, like, what? I get to come up with this? Okay. So I'll be here doing that for a bit, and then we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed for a season three, of course, but right now just fully committed and excited and grateful to be working right now, and to be doing something creative like this that I think helps people. I used to live tweet the show, and someone would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, I think my aunt has that." And it's like, "Oh yeah, my cousin has that thing." And then someone else would say, "I think I have that." And then someone else would come in and they were like, "Oh, what are you doing for it?" And it's just starting a conversation, and people are connecting and talking about what they're going through. And for me, if a show does that, like that's the pinnacle. That's everything.
That's amazing. Well, if our viewers haven't seen Brilliant Minds, it is available to stream on Peacock, and of course, catch up on this latest episode, The Contestant. DeMane, thank you so much for your time today. This was a great conversation.
Thank you so much, Clarence. Really appreciate you.